How do I immerse myself in reality, in this program that we're living in? Maybe everything is a program. Maybe everything's some sort of game or simulation. So we said in a previous video that you could see that God is recreating all of reality at every moment by means of the 22 Hebrew letters, and that we could use the Hebrew letters to conceptually map out everything in creation by means of viewing it as take the Hebrew name of something and seeing its numerical value and correspond using substituting letters and rearranging the Hebrew letters, and basically that seeing that all of creation is a code, and we can crack the code of everything, every item, everything within creation. And so let's take an example. Let's take an exercise, and doing that right now. So my experience over these past years is in furniture design. So we're going to look at the Hebrew word for table, Shulchan. And so I asked ChatGPT to tell me, please, the different words that can be made using the three-letter root of Shulchan, Shin Lamed Ches, in whatever order you want. You can either have the Shin first, the Lamed first, the Ches first, in whatever order, whatever permutation. And also to look at the two-letter root of the word Shulchan, of table, which is Shin Lamed. So either Shin Lamed or Lamed Shin, but then also to add one of the vowel letters of the Hebrew language. So we're going to explore together our conceptual mapping of the word table, and where does this matter? Why do we care? So we're living in an LLM. We're living in a large language model. This is the language model of the programming language of all of creation, created by means of the Hebrew letters, created by God. This is our reality, is created by God. And we're going to find some interesting ideas that relate to the table that we may not have thought of previously if we didn't think in terms of the Hebrew letters, that we're mapping out a conceptual map using the Hebrew word for table, Shulchan. So hopefully I haven't lost you. This is a fun exercise that we can do for anything within creation. So we're going to do it right now for a table. So the first word, we're looking at the three-letter root, which is called Sharashim, is Shalach. And that's actually in the same order as Shulchan. So what's Shalach mean? It means to send, like a messenger. So that's an interesting thing, that a lot of meetings, like if you think of it, you're sending a messenger, and they're being sent on a mission. So a lot of meetings take place around tables. Like you think of a conference table, a meeting ground. So that very, very much fits very well. As you're sending someone on a mission, on a message, and they're going to meet around a table. So a lot of meetings, a lot of conversations take place around tables. Another interesting word is lachash, which is changing the order around. Lachash means to whisper, to say things quietly or silently, like in a whisper. So you have let's say a casual dining experience. You're not saying things so loudly. You have small talk. Literally, the talk is said quietly. So that's more like a casual experience. So you're whispering. You're like late at night. You're having casual conversations with friends. You can imagine saying things in whispers and quietly. Maybe you don't want other people to hear. You're having a private conversation. Maybe the kids are asleep and the parents are talking. You can imagine what that type of a conversation would be. Let's have another example. Some of these we're just going to say, and we'll leave it up to your imagination. So chashal is to forge, or like chain link armor. To forge, what does that mean? To forge. We can imagine like related to a conversation or to a gathering. Like you have sometimes you have tables and the king is at the head of the table. So you have the chain link armor and they're forging ahead with something. So that could be like to forge. And could also mean chalash, which means weak, a sign of weakness. That's why it's very important in diplomatic dialogue to be situated in just the right way around a table. Because you don't want to seem like you're weak. Maybe you're going to be positioned opposite the other person, or the type of table is very important. Maybe it needs to be a round table, or maybe it's a rectangle table. Is that going to be where are you going to be on the table? If it's a rectangle table, maybe it's going to be an oval table. Maybe the best table is a round table, because no matter where you're situated, you're equally situated on the table. So these are all important distinctions. Whether you're forging ahead, which is the ches shin lamed variation of this root table, or you're going to seem as chalash, as weak, ches lamed shin. So there's a lot of diplomacy and meetings around tables. So this is all related to the 3-letter root. Okay, let's go to the 2-letter. It's called a gate, sha'arim. So you should know something with 2-letter roots. You either approach it from the front or from the back. It's either like you're entering the city from outside and you're going inside the city, or you're from inside the city, or you're going outside the city. So the 2-letter roots are very much related, you could say, to marketing. Like how are you approaching the table from the outside? Are you looking to purchase it, or are you looking to sell the table? So that's a way to look at it. You're coming from the outside, looking to buy the table, or you're coming from the inside, looking to sell the table. Anyway, so let's come up with a few of these. So if you're looking to sell a table, for sure you're focusing on shin lamed hey, which again is taking the 2-letter root and adding a vowel. So hey is the vowel letter here. So what's shin lamed hey? That's tranquility. So that's definitely, if you're talking about a table, it's like a statement piece. You're going to have a lot of conversations around this table, so you want it to be something that's promoting tranquility and peace in the home. Peace is another word. Shin lamed vav, like shalom, peace. So that's another thing that tables should convey, is peace. Another thing, when you say a statement piece, this is centering the home. So you're talking about this is something that is very unique and individual. So that's like shali, shin lamed yud. So it's taking the 2-letter root of Shulchan, of table, and adding the letter yud. So this is something that is something very personal. You want tables to convey something about you, especially a dining table. You're going to be eating around this, spending a lot of time around this table. It's another word. Shin lamed aleph is to ask, request. You're going to have a lot of conversations, a lot of dialogue around this table. So you're going to be asking a lot of questions, going to be answering a lot of questions. So that's also yud shin lamed is also he will ask. So that's expecting there to be questions is basically the result of all of that. Another beautiful one is lamed aleph shin, which is to collect or gather. You're gathering. It's a gathering place. A lot of times dining tables are sold before Thanksgiving, or before when you were expecting to host, to gather around the table. So it's a gathering place. You're expecting visitors and friends and relatives to come. So you want to have a nice big table, or a conference room, as we said, conference table. Expecting a lot of people to gather around the table. Another beautiful thing you have in the temple is the table held the showbread in the temple. So a beautiful thing is that Lamed Vav Shin means to knead dough. So it's like directly relating back to that table that was used for the holy purposes in the temple. A lot of times people like to light candles on a table, or like in the Jewish tradition, we light the candle lights, the Friday night Shabbos candles, Sabbath candles. So Lamed Hey Shin, adding a hey to the root of a table, means to inflame or kindle. So it's not such a common word, but it's also another permutation of the two-letter root, or what's called a gate in Hebrew, for this the two-letter root of the word Shulchan, of table. There's a couple more here. One is Vav Shin Lamed, adding a Vav means to pay. So definitely, if you're talking about the world of commerce and trying to get people to buy your table, you're going to have to pay some money for that. Okay. I think that's a lot of different ways to conceptually map a table. Again, according to the Hebrew language, according to the Hebrew word for table, both according to the three-letter root permutations, which again is called shorashim, and also according to the two-letter, which are called gates. So the two-letter root is pretty fun, because it's you're either it's like relativity, like the theory of relativity. It's either you're approaching the gate from the front or from the back, like AB or BA. So when you when you code a language model, it's good to think of it in terms of where are you approaching it from. That's like a 3D model, from the front or from the back, from inside looking outside, or from outside looking inside. So that we had a lot of fun with the two-letter roots, adding one of the vowel letters in Hebrew. It's either Aleph or Hey or Vav or Yud. These are different vowel letters. And so again, what's the point of all of this? Is we can come up with a whole conceptual map that connects everything in all of creation, no matter what it is. We can find how it corresponds, how it relates to other stuff. So now today we just did a meditation on table, but you can do it on anything. If you have an idea, have a word you'd like to have explored, we could do that next. So hope you enjoyed this.